I'm Aaron Meyer, and you're listening to the 19-9 Podcast. On this week's deep dive into basketball culture, we're joined by Tristan Weiss of Short Courts. He creates miniaturized custom basketball courts. These creations are landmarks for superfans.
And somebody had a beer pong table, had the little triangles on the end, right? So I was like, I'll buy it from you, but I'm going to lop off the triangles. And I thought, I'll do it myself.
We finished by talking about how his creations led him to meeting Adam Morrison and basketball as life participant Dan Dickow.
And I was the biggest Adam Morrison fan. It's Gonzaga. It's Adam Morrison. I slept with his picture above my bed. I grew my hair out real long. I had the nasty little mustache.
It's time to start the show.
Isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all there.
Welcome to the 19-9 Podcast. I'm here with Tristan Weiss. He is the creator, owner, visionary of Short Courts, which are a basketball product that Josh introduced me to just recently. But I'm super stoked to talk to him because, again, we love exploring just the corners of the basketball universe. And these are a way to represent fandom in a unique way. And just excited to get to know a little bit more about him. So welcome to the show, Tristan.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the intro. I think visionary is probably a bit extensive. You know, I'm not creating any of these designs, but I suppose I've created a couple, but that was a one-off circumstance.
That's right. But the thing is, it ends up being like some of them I've seen already like mashed together different eras and just the design aesthetics that you're bringing in. And I think the exciting part is just bringing something that every fan knows closer to them. That's what I love that. But we'll get into that. I want to start here. Give us your basketball origin story. So obviously, if you're going to pursue something like this on your own time, outside of your normal career, there has to be an origin story in basketball for you. So how did the passion start for you?
Man, it really makes you think about how long you played basketball when you ask a question like that. You know, how long you've watched or played, and it takes me back to when I grew up in a small little town in northwestern Illinois. Like our elementary school was built in like 1918 or something like that. It was like really, really old and really tiny. And the playground was built into a hill. And there was always the 3 basketball hoops. There was the 10-foot that nobody ever played on because we weren't big enough for that. There was the 6-foot, and that was for the kid. That was for the little kids. And then there was the 8-foot hoop where it was usually me and 3 other buddies. We just play 2-on-2 pretty much every recess. And that I can vividly remember the 10-foot hoop being 20 feet high.
It might have been if it was on that hill. It might have actually been 20 feet.
Yeah. And then it just kind of went from there. You get into a small town. Basketball was a big deal. And growing up in the era of the Bulls.
Yes.
Now you're talking Bulls, my game. There was no getting away from that. It was Michael Jordan, everything. And so you always, if you weren't playing or trying to find a place to play down the street, it was a lot of what's Michael Jordan going to do today?
Did you get to any of the celebrations? So you grew up in Illinois, you said. Did you get to any of the celebrations in Grant Park or go see him play live?
Oh, nope, I didn't. I was too young, and we lived like right on the Mississippi River, so we were way out from Chicago, and that wasn't really. It was one of those things that if my dad was home and he wasn't traveling for work, I vividly remember when the finals would be on, he would have to coax my mom into letting us stay up so we could watch it. But I remember we had to stand up to watch it because the TV was too big for the entertainment center. They had the ones they close everything in, right?
Yes.
So we got a bigger TV, and now I had to sit on the top of the TV stand. And I remember staying up late to watch those, and that was such an awesome memory. And when you're a kid, you're just like, I get to stay up till 9 o'clock. This is amazing.
Well, the greatest thing about, I remember this too, same generation, like the Jordan Bulls. And I remember that the finals, just like they are now, are always during summer break. So yeah, I was never able to stay up to watch those, but the finals I get the exception for, because it's during summer, and just always an exciting time of year to watch. It seemed like inevitable that the Bulls were going to be in the finals every year. That just
absolutely
definitely spoiled me.
Yeah, that I don't think you could put it any other way. Spoiled them. They sold their soul for the next 30 years. It felt like for those 6 championships.
I know. It's worth it from my perspective, considering I got to live through it as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's pivot and talk a little bit about short courts. Give us kind of the layman who doesn't know anything about it, who hasn't been to the Instagram yet, what it is and how'd you get started with it? Like, where'd you get this idea?
It's one of those things where I used to live in Madison, Wisconsin and when we finally moved back to Illinois, me and my wife, it's one of those things where I really like to just look on Mercari or OfferUp or all those and people are just selling like odd memorabilia, like junk, right? But I'm a kind of a pack rat when it comes to that stuff. So I'm always really interested. Being that I went to Illinois State University, well, that's kind of a niche market. All right. I'm always looking up stuff. And somebody had a beer pong table that they were selling, and it had the little triangles on the end, right?
Nice.
And I thought, the court's really cool. You did a good job replicating it. But I thought, I don't need the beer pong court. I'm too old for that, right? So I was like, I'll buy it from you, but I'm going to lop off the triangles. And they said, I can't remember what it was, maybe like $200, $250, something like that. And I thought, I'll do it myself. And I just went out to Home Depot and bought some cheap lumber, well, not lumber, but wood, and just kind of started scaling things out and figuring out, okay. And that was a 4 foot by 2 foot section. So that was a lot more work than I do now. But yeah, it was just one of those things that was like, you know what? I'm not paying for that. I could do a better job. And I don't think it was probably better, but it felt good to make it.
Yeah. So. Okay. So you get started there. So that's the idea, which I love. I love that starts with beer pong. Many bad ideas started there, but finally a good idea starts there.
Yeah.
But what's the like kind of evolution, I guess, of the idea from there? Because they're scaled down now, but like much more like accurate, with kind of design elements from courts past and present incorporated into them, to where it does look like it does not just look like, it is a real piece of memorabilia, like something that could hang in your office. I think you got one hanging over your shoulder, right?
Yeah, I got all excited watching The Last Dance, and I was like, I have to have it. I'm gonna redo and relive this whole mini series and make the court too.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was it just kind of took off when I made the Illinois State one, and it took a long time. I probably had 40 hours of labor in that.
Wow.
It was because everything was done by hand. I'm cutting everything out with a hobby knife. And I really, knowing that it was mine, I was like, I had all the time in the world. I didn't have kids, and I had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And I had posted it on the college basketball subreddit.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, it's the off season. You guys might find this interesting. I did this. It just went wild. Huh. I got so many requests from people. Could you make me one? Could you make me one? And I'm like, I don't know if I can. It's just like, it's a fun thing for me to do. And finally, I had gone through enough people, and I finally came to an agreement with one guy that, sure, I'll give it a try. As long as you cut me some slack, let's go ahead and give it a try.
What's the first one you made? Who has it? Which fan base is passionate enough that they convinced you to do it?
Oh my. Okay. Now it's a good thing that my wife's not home, because this still is a point of contention in my house. But it was University of Virginia.
Okay.
And at that time, it was 2-3 years ago. No, like they were still fresh off their championship and all that stuff. So it was a bigger deal. And my wife is a Virginia Tech grad.
Uh-oh.
So I had decided, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it. We came to an agreement on the price, and it was considerably cheaper than what I sell them for now. And I I said like, hey, I'd willing to do this if you'll be my guinea pig. And my wife comes home. All of a sudden she sees me painting and there's a board. She's like, what's that? And I said, I agreed to make a court for somebody. Okay. And it's Virginia.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Oh.
It was, if looks could kill. And then I don't think I could have told her any amount of money that I would have said, I've been charging them $10,000. She'd be like, get it out of here, out of the house. But, then that happened. I made that one and it just kind of kept progressing from there. Posted on Reddit. Hey, this is kind of neat. I thought you guys would like this if you liked the first one. And it just kept going from there, really. I get more requests and I did end up getting to make a Virginia Tech one, so I got to sleep back in the bed.
Oh, nice. There you go. Did you make sure? How many times per week did you point out the Virginia Tech? See, Virginia Tech. I'm very Browns.
Look what I'm working on over here. I'm working on
lots of Instagram posts with that one.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that eventually, with COVID, and we were more working from home, so I had a little more time to kind of think about things of that nature, and I started doing the social media and just kind of took off from there. I get requests all the time and I get to meet a lot of really cool people. Like you had said in the beginning, basketball touches all corners of the earth.
Yeah.
And everyone has a different background with it or relationship with it. And you just meet so many interesting people. I love it.
Nice.
That's probably one of the best things about it.
Yeah, give us a couple of stories. I saw a couple on there. I know I saw Adam Morrison on there, one that you made for his podcast that he does. He does one with, I think, Field of 68 or something like that.
He does one with Dan Dickow.
Okay.
I think it's for Sports Illustrated. Okay. But he was originally doing his own, and I was the biggest Adam Morrison fan. And it always bothered me that he didn't really have like a social media or anything. Mm-hmm. And I was at junior college at the time. You got all the time in the world at junior college. It's Gonzaga. It's Adam Morrison. I slept with his picture above my bed. I grew my hair out real long. I had the nasty little mustache. He was basketball. Like that was it, man. And
that's great.
It's funny because small world, we were actually born in the same small town in eastern Montana, like 3,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So it was one of those things that I found that out and I'm like, dude, I
some
knew
kind
I
of connection
loved this guy for a reason.
Yeah.
And I had just reached out when he finally started his podcast. And I said like, hey, I do it complimentary, whatever, free. Like, I have to have one for you. Because they had the YouTube channel too. And the person running the producer came back. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And I came home. I was on road from work. I came home, told my wife, you'd have thought I had just hit the lottery. I was like, it's happening, and he sent me an autograph picture and he took some pictures with it and all that stuff.
That's
cool. That's one of the cooler ones for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Are there any others that stand out for people that you made or who's one that's still maybe a fish that's still out there that you want to make one for?
Oh man. One of the cooler ones I had ever gotten to do was for the vice president of Hershey's, the chocolate company.
Okay.
And
that's
she
legit.
had reached out to me and I'm like, okay, looking through it. And I look at the email. I'm like, well, that can't be like Hershey.
You're like, what kind of scam is this? Like the African president. Like, wait a second.
Yeah. So, that was really cool. Talked to her for a while and she bought 4 courts and that was really
cool.
Fun.
What did she have made? Like for colleges or for
it was
chocolate bar ones?
Oh, her family is huge Purdue fan.
Got it.
She went to Purdue. She wanted 4 of them, and absolutely, I'll make you 4.
Yeah.
What this is kind of this is like what I had said. You don't realize who's interested or just passionate about these things. And another one was a guy had messaged me. He's like, "I'd like to buy 2." I said, "Okay." He goes, "Can you ship them to Singapore?" I'm like, "What? No, I can't." Ship anything to Singapore. I don't think I have enough money. But he was the head of Google Cloud for the Asia Pacific region.
Wow.
I'm like, why? I never thought I'd talk to anybody that important in my life. And here they are dealing with me, normal people. And just interesting stuff like that. I got a couple Northern Kentucky.
Okay.
They reached out to me directly, and I made one as a retirement gift for their athletic director. So that was fun. But yeah, most of the time, it's just I get requests, and people have interesting stories to go along with what they want, and I love.
Cool.
I love that.
Yeah, sports ends up being so personal. I mean, your story about Morrison and the connection to the hometown. And I think that's what's so interesting about finding something that means something to you, to have somebody else make it. And then to have that personalized input matters, because you can go to a store and buy, just about anything you want these days. But there's always that kind of separation, where it's made somewhere else and you have no input. It's just kind of like, oh, there it is, I want it. But this is different if they're reaching out and asking about a design element or including something in it. It makes it so much more personal. I think that's what's really cool about it.
That's probably one of my favorite parts is, I'll make you the court, but like, what do you want added? Do you want the Final Four logos? Do you want championship years? All those kinds of things. And that, I mean, even with my Bulls court, those NBA Finals logos from 96, 97, 98. Oh, I don't know if they ever got better than that. I think it's been all downhill since.
Well, they've got the song. They had the song, the NBC song back then too.
Easy now. I'm gonna get lose it here.
I know, it's the finals tonight. I gotta get us pumped up.
Oh yeah, but it's things like that. Like it's fun to recreate things that, where else are you gonna see them? I could look at a picture all day on Google, but now I physically have those logos on my wall here, and that's so much fun to be able to just recreate things like that.
Okay, that makes me think of something. So, have you thought about doing like NFTs? Because I think it's such a weird time. No, I know. This makes me crazy because I've talked to Josh about these too, and it's a different landscape, right? Because there is a market for that right now, but it also is like, I'm still, and this could be an age thing, but like the tangible thing really matters to me, like being able to have the item, because there is like a visceral connection to it. It's still hard for me to like wrap my head around, like I own this like URL to a token. I don't know, but they're big. They're big right now.
Yeah, they are big, and I don't get it. And maybe I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like the guy yelling at the kids to get off my lawn, but I'm like, why do I want that? It doesn't. It doesn't. What am I supposed to do with it?
I don't know.
Do I just go around and show people a link I have on my phone?
That's it. You got to pull up the link.
Yeah, jealous much? Like I don't know. It all seems like money laundering to me, but I don't understand money enough to maybe even understand.
Yeah, I know it really is legitimately hard, but I was just curious kind of as someone more in the artistic space, like, because that is such a push now to like, to keep it like in keeping up with the Joneses, do you feel like a pressure to branch out into something like that as well? It does seem more disconnected than what you're doing, but also maybe just easier too,
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I don't know. I'm good. I like.
Yeah.
This is the same reason I still buy. If I buy, 2 kids means you don't buy video games anymore. But I would only buy the hard copy.
Yeah.
Or I like buying records now.
Yeah.
Because I know I bought digital music and I have no idea where it is.
Yeah, right.
I know I'll lose it some point.
It's in the cloud. It's in the cloud, right? You got to keep it in the cloud.
Which one is my problem?
No doubt. Okay, so I got to ask you then, we talked about some people that you'd like to design for. What's a favorite court design that you've had, or one that you'd still like to do?
For the longest time, always wanted to do the Mecca court.
Yes.
And I think everybody can agree universally. Like it really isn't just a basketball court. It was legitimate artwork.
Yeah.
And it was just so, I don't know. Like, do you ever watch that show Parks and Recreation?
Of course, yeah.
And Tom goes and gets the artwork done. Yep. And he's like, I'm so moved by it. And it's just a bunch of colors.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel when I look at the Mecca. I'm
yes.
like, there's something emotionally connected to me here, but I don't know. And I finally got to do that one. Did it 2 different times, which was fun. That was really cool. I don't know. Like some of the other ones that I would be interested in doing, I get so many requests for Oregon.
Yeah.
and I can't stand that court. It is just so.
It's crazy.
I don't know what it is. I get that it's supposed to be the trees, but the staining that goes into that.
Yeah.
If I do that's what should be my retirement right there. Once I push that one out, I'm done. But
yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't know. Those I love doing some of the retro floors too.
Yeah, as an Indiana guy, the Hoosiers court would be kind of cool. I don't know exactly how you'd incorporate it, but there could be like that with the skinny lanes and just kind of some kind of throwback like that.
Yeah, that would definitely be fun for sure. I don't know. I did a parquet court once, and that was really cool to try out because I used to get a lot of requests for that, and it's just nice that people kind of push me for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, can you try this? And I'm like, if you cut me some slack, I'd gladly love to be able to make that. And,
what was the process of that like? Did you have to like figure out how to do parquet? I was gonna say, like, did you have to figure out how to do parquet? I'm picturing you with like little teeny like squares, like a little.
That's exactly what it was. Oh my goodness! So,
oh my gosh,
I had gotten a guy who ends up living like a half hour from me. He's a graphic designer. He's like, hey, I'd love to redesign your logo. And it is what it is now, the ABA looking ball, the retro font. And I said, well, I'm not going to let you do it for free. What do you want? He goes, could you do parquet? And I said, I'll make it happen. I make it happen. And so what I ended up doing a lot of research, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I found a bunch of oak veneer. And I bought like 100-foot roll. And it was 3/4 inches wide. I cut 608 pieces of 3/4 by 3/4 inch squares.
Oh my God.
And then I would lay them out on the board, and then I took the iron and heat up the glue. And
I'm hoping you've got basketball on in the background, at least. So you've got some entertainment through this.
Actually, I think if you watch the Instagram video, I'm doing it with my newborn in my arms, but she's sleeping, and I'm trying to get stuff done, and I'm putting it, and then I'd iron it. And
that's fantastic.
I had always decided next time if I ever do that, I'm getting 1 inch by 1 square. So 608 pieces was just
wow. That's wild.
I had told Jordan, I said, I appreciate letting me test this, but I said, don't ask for one again.
Yeah. So, yeah. Is that one on your Instagram? I got to go check that one out. Okay,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
For Jordan Grimes, I can't recommend him enough. He redid all my short court stuff. He did a great job. So,
cool.
I mean, if anybody needs some work from somebody like that, it's J7 Grimes on Twitter. He's an awesome guy, and he did fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I've got I pitch Josh all the time half-baked ideas. So here's my half-baked idea for you. I love the project backboard stuff that Slam and JDS and some of they're involved with that. I think it would be so cool to you need to get with them, and then the next one they do, create the court to give to the person like Bill Walton. Imagine Bill Walton holding up your version, miniaturized version of his project backboard court in San Diego. Would be super cool.
That would be an awesome idea. Honestly, that's something I've never realized how much I enjoy court design.
Yeah,
and then now I see it everywhere.
I know. I love looking at them and the different places they are too. Just with the palm trees and just kind of the natural aesthetics that those can kind of bring into. I think it would be really cool.
It's awesome stuff that they're doing there. And yeah, I think that would be fun to team up with them. And then, I mean, Bill Walton,
right?
Jeez.
Handing it off. He'd be a great person to meet. He'd give you some stories.
Oh man, I just need a 30-second clip of him rambling about how much he likes it, and that would be worth it.
Oh my God, for sure. For sure. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about NIL because we've been with the guests on the podcast. We've been exploring this space because I just think it is reshaping college basketball, and then by extension, everyone attached to college basketball. So I was kind of curious, just in general, what you thought of NIL, and then maybe where you see yourself fitting into that space, because you've got these athletes that can license their images now. You've got this kind of middle ground to I don't know. It's just so hard to think about how do you contact them, or do they contact you, and helping them to make money while at the same time being a part of that ecosystem.
I personally love it. I think it's something that has been long overdue for a while. And it always never sat right with me that, like, I have a Kellen Moore Boise State jersey shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He got none of that. But I wear that shirt and be like, this is Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just number 11. That's Kellen Moore.
Right.
So all of that stuff, I think, is definitely an awesome idea for them. It's why not have the opportunity for them to be able to take advantage of that? Because A, they're already busy enough as it is between class, practice, travel, games. When do you really expect them to work? I don't think you'd have enough energy to do that.
Yeah.
So if they can do things like that, that gives them a little bit of spending money to do whatever. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see it as anything that's detrimental to the game at all. But I mean, how would I parlay into that? It's not, I don't know. That's not something I've really ever thought about, because I guess that kind of would worry me about, like, this stance socks. Mm-hmm. They're like MLB PA, but they're not MLB affiliated. So now you got a picture of Jose Abreu on a pair of socks, but you don't got a White Sox logo.
Right.
You know? So
yeah.
There's a lot of dancing around with that. It would be awesome.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, like with the Adam Morrison piece, because you've got, you know, he's past that point now, but these guys, you know, like Draymond is a current player and he's got his own podcast. Like, I can definitely see these college athletes jumping into that space, at least at some point, because why not? Right. And then, you know, they need to get their kind of brand and their studio up and looking cool. So I don't know. Like, I think it's such an unexplored space, and it's going to change so rapidly in the next few years.
Yeah. I can see in the next, like, 5 years, it's going to be, I could almost see it being upside down from where it is now, and going places that people never, like, some people are releasing NFTs.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Why not?
You know?
Yeah,
sure. I mean, if you can figure it out and explain it to me, I'd love to try as well, but sure.
See, they're selling to the younger fans, so it's good.
yeah, absolutely. But good. I don't see any harm coming out of it. I think it's a good thing, and who knows? Maybe in 5 years I'll change my mind. Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah, I think, you know, ultimately the product on the court is what's going to matter, and if it somehow damages that, I think that's where, you know, people would start to push back. But if the quality remains the same, or maybe even grows, because you've got guys that are coming back because they can earn money, you know, I think that could potentially push it in an even more positive direction.
I mean, it gives you more of the opportunity for, well, now with the NBA is doing with that G League deal. Yep. But remember when Brandon Jennings was the first guy to go to Europe?
Yeah.
And that was like, college basketball is going to crumble. And now that they were good. And it really wasn't a big deal. So if he could have probably stayed in the U.S., made some money doing it, he probably would have. But I don't blame him for going over there either.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he would have. I mean, you see, like, the following of some of these guys, their platforms, their social media platforms are so powerful. That's the way to go. I think they have I saw Duke hired a GM for their NIL now. So they've got a general manager. Yeah, they got a general manager at Duke, like, just to manage the guys' social media and whatever NIL deals, because they have to have, like, some separation, I guess, from the school. But they can hire kind of this outside person. That's the only thing I think is a little bit weird still, is like the appearance of not having the school directly affiliated with the kids making money, but kind of, you know, like the coaches can't be in on them making deals, but a general manager can. It's like, what kind of song and dance are we doing?
Yeah, right. It doesn't very fine line there, but I saw something with Gonzaga does a deal where you go to school there, and that's part of the program, I believe, as part of the basketball program. They teach you branding and how to promote yourself, and
makes sense.
You know, why not? If you can go to a school that has that opportunity, I feel like that's now something that they can use to recruit. That you better spin that up real quick, because other schools are going to start doing that too.
Sure, they need to get Dick Howe and Morrison helping the guys out.
Yeah, they do
for sure.
But I just like to. I mean, think about all the people in the past that could have benefited from that.
No doubt.
So many. Like, Adam Morrison could have been selling little fake mustaches, you know?
You would have for sure had the Adam Morrison wig and mustache set.
I'd have had one for every day of the week.
All right. Well, let's finish up here with just a couple of random questions. So we got the NBA Finals tonight. Who you got? We got Warriors and Celtics. Game 6. What do you think? I'm going back and forth myself. I really am having trouble deciding who's gonna win it. Who's gonna win it tonight? I picked Warriors in 7, but I don't know. They looked pretty good last game, so it might be tonight.
This is just a very internal struggle question for me because I hate Boston, and not just the Celtics, just the area,
the
okay?
city.
Oh, it is not for me. Okay?
Yeah.
So I don't want to see the Celtics win. The problem is it's at Boston. I could certainly see them just finding it in them tonight to just come out and just boat race the Warriors, right?
No doubt.
But I don't like Draymond Green. I used to, but like the past couple of years, I'm like, this guy's just getting off the rails. Like, who does he think he is, man?
He thinks he's Draymond Green. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. Michigan State, get him a Draymond Green court. We need that.
I've got to do the old Michigan State court when they had the basketballs in the half circles. Yep. I love that. And the old Big Ten logo was fantastic.
Yeah.
I love Stephen Curry.
Yep.
And I mean, I actually got a picture with Stephen Curry. I saw him at O'Hare Airport.
That's cool.
And as kind of that guy that I know you're not supposed to do this, but my flight was about to board. He was only like a year or two in the league, so him and his wife were eating at Chili's, and I'm watching like, hurry up, finish dinner, come on, man, I don't want to bother you.
Yeah.
And finally, my flight was going to start boarding, so I just walked up and said, like, hey, man, I apologize, but watched you so much at Davidson, love everything you're doing. You're super excited for your career. And I was like, do you mind if I get a picture? And his wife was so excited. She was, she loved it. Like somebody recognized him and, this is a big deal. And now they're both equally huge celebrities.
Oh, for sure. Right?
But he kind of was like, yeah, I guess. He comes around, takes a picture, and can you give me a little autograph too, man? Thank you so much. And that's one of those things. I'm forever tied to him with that, so I always got to root for him because he did it.
That's cool. I mean, you did it right there. First of all, young guy. Second of all, referenced his college, so it didn't go straight for the NBA. You're like, I've been a fan for a while here. I'm going back with you. And then third, giving him, wait until the last moment to have to jump in there and being quick with it. Hey, you got to do it. It's great to be recognized. Those guys love it. I know at some point that probably gets annoying, but that's part of it. If you're going to make $250 million for playing basketball, you got to expect a little bit of that.
I'm not asking you to paint a picture of us. I'm just asking real quick.
I didn't ask you for a parquet court. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, last one. Draft is coming up. You mentioned Gonzaga a couple times. You got Holmgren going first. Who you think's first in the draft this year?
I mean, that's who I want to go first, but I don't know. I don't think he will. I could see Banchero going first too. But I'm more excited for Holmgren.
Yeah.
I like his game. It's one of those things too where him and Luka, for me, no matter how much I watch them play basketball, I'm like, they look so slow. How are they getting around people? But they just have they're so like long, right? And I'm excited for Holmgren just because I think he's got, and there's a reason I'm probably not an NBA scout, but I think he looks a lot like Kevin Durant was when he came in, very long, very good shooter. Obviously needs to put on a few pounds, but look at Kevin Durant. He never really did that. Things worked out great for him.
People forget about that. Like, I remember when Durant came out, they still made the guys in the combine do the bench press, and everyone was like astounded that he couldn't bench 185 one time. I'm like, who cares? Why does that matter for a 7-foot guy who has like otherworldly skills? Like, he can put on a little muscle, but he's not going to need to bench press. and by the way, his arms being 3 feet long might have something to do with that,
I don't need, 5 big baby Davises running down the floor, right?
Exactly.
We may have lost by 50, but we can bench press 3,000 pounds collectively.
You should see the leg press machine. He throws it through the wall. Yeah.
No, I could see Banchero going first, but I like the idea. I've seen a couple things where Holmgren goes to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I think that'd be cool. They would have a fun team there too. I like Giddey from last year.
Yeah.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is he's a good player. So that could be a cool landing spot for him. And he had more time there too. I think that's the hardest thing about these guys is, you think about Kuminga in Golden State and just his opportunity to like grow there. If he had been in Houston, he'd have been thrown out there and just had to like just go. And it's hard. That can really mess with your development when either your head gets too big or it can kind of tamp down your confidence too, because you're going against grown men and you're just not ready.
That trial by fire I ain't cut out for it. I'll tell you that. I would need time to grow, but I think about Andrew Wiggins right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cleveland threw him away as fast as they drafted him.
Yep.
He got to Minnesota, and I don't feel like anybody ever gave him credit for everything. They were always just like, you could be better. You could be better. And I feel like that wore on him.
Yeah.
And then he gets the Golden State, and he's, on a team that's far more productive and just, I feel like, I don't know, but better teammates.
Maybe, yeah. Hey, it's picking the right hoop, right? You don't want to play on the 20-foot hoop. You don't want to play on the 6-foot hoop. You got to pick the one right in the middle. Get the right one.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right, man. Well, give us where we can find you on social media, because I think people should hit you up with requests. If nothing else, go there and look at the stuff, just like and get excited about your team or the possibilities.
Yeah, so I'm most actively on Twitter at @short_courts. But if you're interested about reaching out, having questions, or making some sort of request for a high school coach or anything like that too, my email is shortcourtsbball@gmail.com. But Instagram, like you'd mentioned, is short b-ball courts. I know I'm not a social media manager. It could be better, but I got 3 different things. Short_courts on Twitter, short b-ball courts on Instagram, and then shortcourtsbball@gmail is my email. I would say Twitter and Gmail are the best way to get a hold of me.
We'll leave the links too in the show notes, and we so appreciate you coming on today and talking about it and just kind of reliving some memories. And the courts definitely help people relive the memories. And we'll be looking out for you handing Bill Walton a court here sometime in the future.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you for listening to the 19-9 podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do. And while you're at it, leave us a rating or review. 5 stars only, like the basketball camp. We also have links to all of 19-9 social media so you never miss a release. Until next time,